What's going on, Jello family? In today's video, we're going to go over how to get into the top 1% of income earners in the United States. So for me, very fortunate, these past 2 years, I was able to achieve that milestone, that goal, all in my 20s too. So I'm very, very proud of that. In the United States, top 1% of income earners earn about $500,000 in annual revenue every year. For me, my job, as well as just through consulting, we were able to achieve that goal. Very fortunate and very happy to do that, right? So I just want to share my journey, how I did that, and I hope it can honestly help you guys to achieve this as well. Long story short, we worked 2 remote roles, both at tech companies, as well as one was a W-2 role, one was a 1099 role. The first role was working at Google. We were paid a salary, equity, as well as bonus. That was my W-2 role, right? That totaled about $300,000. And then I had a 1099 role where I was consulting at another firm, and that paid about $200,000. So helping with the PM work there as well. So just a lot of work from home and consulting. And I did this all in my 20s. I'm no different than anyone else. I'm no smarter than anyone else. I'm really just a normal person. And there was a time in my life where I really didn't believe in myself. So if I can go through this kind of transformation, this journey, so can you. I want you guys to know that. I come from a first-generation family. Mother and father both came from the Philippines, really didn't know how the economics, how the world worked here in the United States. And it was up to me to figure everything out kind of on my own, right? They sent me to school. They wanted the best for me, but they always told me they believed in me, right? So I'm here to always tell you, I believe in you. I know you can do it. Whatever situation, whatever role you're in right now, and whatever struggle you may be going through, please know I believe in you. So first things first, how did I get that W-2 job at Google, right? Google is one of the hardest places to get into, one of the most prestigious companies to get into, and a lot of people are applying every day to get into that role. So for me, this is how I did it. Google is interesting. You get 3 applications a month to apply to different roles, and they cap you out. Most companies, you can basically spam the career portal and apply to so many different roles. And you just keep applying until someone says yes and you actually interview and you instantly interview. Google, a lot harder than that. You actually need to apply to several roles, 3 roles a month that fit your resume. If they fit your resume, you get a call from a recruiter, and then you'll have the toughest 6 to 7 rounds of interviews you've ever had in your life. Prestigious company, they pay around $300,000 a year for their employee. Everyone's fighting for that job. Just understand that is the marketplace. That's how it works. You need to basically stand out, do really well in the interviews, and be kind of exemplary to take that role, take that job. And then once you get to that job, you do need to excel as well. It's not just, you made it, good job, here you go, buddy, here's your money. No. You still have to do well. So here is how I applied to Google. First things, what I did was I applied to 3 jobs every month at Google. And then I set a recurring reminder, okay, those 3 jobs you applied to was on this day, you now get to apply 3 jobs again. So every month, I would like to apply 3 jobs a month at Google. That was about 36 jobs a year, which was pretty cool. Interesting thing is too, is if you have different emails, you can apply to multiple jobs at Google. So have another email with your profile, your information, use that to apply different jobs at Google, especially if you really want to go there. I've had friends do this who told me that's how they got in. They applied different roles at Google, and then they were able to basically finally get an interview, do well, get an offer. Google is fascinating in a sense where you have 7 rounds of interviews. These 7 rounds are pretty hard. First is with a recruiter, then with a hiring manager, then a panel round of 5 people, and then if you actually pass that, they send you over to a hiring committee that reviews your profile one last time, and then if you get approved, you get the offer. Most companies aren't like this. You usually have 2 to 3 rounds of interviews, and then you get a job, and then you're happy, you get paid, right? Google is not like that. So the interesting thing about working at Google is that you need to do really well in these interviews, and then you're basically paid on a 3-pronged compensation basis. What does that mean? So you get paid base, you get paid bonus, you get paid equity. How does that work? So for me, the way my kind of finances worked was that you get around $160,000 in base, another $100,000 in equity, and another $40,000 in bonus. So about that $300,000 mark, right? That is how you get paid at a tech company. The cool thing about working at a tech company, especially if you work at a company where you get paid equity, is that you have the possibility of equity appreciation. In a sense, what happened was at Google, I was getting paid equity at a price of around $85 to $90 for each share. Fast forward today, the share price is now around $160 now per share, right? So just that in itself, the equity I had from work has already doubled itself in value. Awesome. Just keep that in mind, is that like whenever you work for a big tech company or a firm that pays you in equity, if you believe in that company, keep all the equity, don't sell it, allow it to appreciate, and then you'll make more money. So that's basically what I did. All the equity at Google, I allowed it to appreciate in value. Keep in mind, you want to keep this equity in your account for more than a year. That way you won't get taxed as much for long-term capital gains tax. So always, if you believe in the company, keep the equity strong. Next part is base. This is your base salary, right? So for my base salary, it was around like $170,000, right? A year, which is almost about $85 an hour or so. And then this is paid every bi-weekly Friday, right? The reason this is really important is because if you have a family, if you are providing for people, and base salary is very important to you because you have bills, you have people you're providing for, make sure this is a big focus on what you're getting paid, right? So for me, I was able to get a really good base salary of around $85 an hour. This after taxes, after contributing to my benefits, after contributing to 401k, all that, around $40,000, $4,200 every 2 weeks for me to be paid. And it was actually pretty nice, right? $4,200 after every few weeks or so. That was a pretty great salary, especially for someone who doesn't have a family. So it allowed me to really just basically take care of myself, pay for rent, pay for my car, pay for my utilities, pay for the loans I had from going to school, everything of that nature. I was able to address, able to pay for, able to just really take on because of a really solid, a really high base salary. Very fortunate, very blessed. Don't get me wrong, I'm very happy for that. That was one of the great things about working at a tech company where you get paid 3 forms of compensation. Next was bonus. Bonus is fascinating because this is based on your performance. Usually about 20% or so of your salary, whatever you're getting paid, will go to bonus. So if you're making, say, $200,000 in salary, in base salary, 20% will go to about $40,000 in bonus, right? And then if you do really well, if you perform well, you get a multiplication factor, meaning that you perform well, the company will multiply your bonus by a certain amount, and you'll get basically more than your promise of that 20%, which is really great. So my advice is, if you work at a big tech company or you work at a company like this, like perform well, you'll get paid more based on your compensation, and you'll you get more money. If you do well, you do a great job, and you learn a lot. Honestly, it's a lot of fun learning, right? The more you learn, the more you earn. I think that's so true, especially at a role like at Google. So the more you earn, the more you learn, the more you learn, the more you earn, vice versa. So always keep working hard, right? I had coworkers who just hit out the park. They got paid a lot of bonus, and it's really good. In investment banking, I have had friends who probably make like double their salary just because they did so well from the investment banking year and they performed well, the company did well. So if you're going this route of basically big tech, banking, or just a career in corporate America, the better you perform, the more money you make. So just keep that in mind whenever you're working to make more money. That's the fascinating part about that. So that's basically how we generate $300,000 from a W-2 job in your 20s. Very fortunate, very blessed. I understand though that I was in California. Keep this in mind, everyone. I was in California. In California, you get paid the highest band when it comes to your location, because California has the highest amount of living expenses. Bay Area as well. Bay Area pays the most. Also, I understood that my salary wasn't typical because I negotiated. That's one of the most important things about how I was able to achieve a top 1% of income last year, right? I know it's very expensive to live in California, but I negotiated, right? So prior to accepting the role, I actually hired a consultant to help me out with the negotiation process. If I hadn't done this, I honestly would have just accepted the initial offer, because you don't know what you don't know. I've always been a proprietor of hiring people who have more knowledge than you, hiring people who have done the work and who have been in the position. The person I had hired was actually a person from Google. They had worked at YouTube, they had worked at Google as a recruiter. They understood how the hiring committee worked, they understood how the compensation team worked, and they were able to help me negotiate a rate, a compensation that I felt was fair for my skills. And I understood too, your most negotiation power will always be during the hiring process, right? Whenever you work at big tech, whenever you work at a company, of course you'll get raises, of course you'll get promoted, all these great things, but most of your power, it comes during the negotiation process. So if I give you any advice right now, if you're ever looking for a role and you're about to get hired at another job, always maximize the negotiation process, because that's where your most power is, right? I know though that I was going to a big tech company that has deep pockets, right? I know it's a little different if you work at like a startup or a smaller firm, or you don't have any work experience. It's hard to negotiate that process because they're very strict on you, right? They understand that, hey, we don't have much money. This is what the budget we got from finance, from HR. This is all we can do, right? So keep that in mind, right? I did come to negotiate with a big tech company that has deep pockets. So if you're ever getting a new role, if you're ever trying to make the most money, always negotiate, right? Understand that you are the most important asset for the company at that time, because they are trying to acquire resources, which is talent, and you are that talent. And they've exhausted a lot of resources through interviewing, through HR, when it came to reviewing, screening resumes. They want your headcount. They want you to come on board to get that job. They want you to take that offer. So you have the most negotiation and leverage during the time of offer negotiation, offer acceptance. So I want you guys to maximize negotiation. If you want that really high paying W-2 job that will help you get into that top 1% earning and income, really focus on that. So that was kind of like the key skills, right? Excellent negotiation when it came to negotiating my offer. Equity appreciation, allowing equity to appreciate for my stocks, especially because I believe in the company so much. I allowed that equity to just, once invested, kept it there, did not touch it. And then thirdly was bonus. I did well in the company. I was able to also get peer review, peer bonuses just from doing a great job on certain projects and tasks. And that helped increase my bonus as well during that $300,000 W-2 job. Next thing we're going to transition to was 1099 income. For those of you who are curious about 1099 income, 1099 income is essentially like contracting income or income through consulting, whatever it may be. For me, I had companies reach out to me saying, hey, we enjoy your project management, your product management work. Can you please help consult, right? So I would charge about $100 an hour for consulting, sometimes more. And by doing this, I was able to have excess income from consulting. I basically found there's tech companies who wanted me to consult for them. I had utilities, other firms that wanted me to consult for them. Really, it was just doing project management work on a sole contributor basis, right? It wasn't managing or leading teams. It was helping out on the technology side for project and program management. For me, I was doing a lot of reporting, looking at a lot of the financials, the reporting when it came to data on Tableau, on Power BI, and this helped me generate about $100 an hour, right? So usually most weeks you charge $100 an hour, about $4,000 a week. Sometimes you charge more depending on who the client is, and then you'll probably work with multiple firms if you're very in demand of that nature. Kind of see yourself as a product that you're able to scale, right? Unfortunately, as a human being, you're only able to scale so much of your time, but fortunately for us, being remote allowed us to scale more so of your time than being kind of in person. That's how I would work. I would always charge a high fee, high rate. The reason I was able to charge a high fee, high rate was because I had the Google experience. I also have a master's from UCLA Anderson. So by being kind of highly sought after, by being associated with these institutions like Google, like UCLA, I was able to charge much higher. There is a fascinating thing with marketing is that if you're starting out and you don't have much experience, you need to hit your sail onto a boat that is much bigger and has done well. For me, that was UCLA, the #1 public school in the world. That was Google, one of the most sought after companies in the world, especially probably the most dominant search engine in the world, right? So I always hitched my sail to something I felt was more successful. By doing that, I was able to get credibility. They saw that it's not easy getting to UCLA. It's not easy getting to Google. So if you're able to pitch your sail to that, if you're able to really kind of show that you are a part of that community, that prestigious employer, people are more likely to trust you because they know how hard it is to get into that role. It's like if you got into the NBA or NFL and people ask you for football advice or basketball advice, like you're more or less going to trust that person because they've worked their whole lives to achieve that dream and get into that association or that league. So you're like, all right, well, they actually practice what they preach. I believe them. There's so many times we'll hire coaches or people who've never done something, and then we're more likely to just take their advice because we're like, oh, they're a great person, we believe in them. But because they've never achieved XYZ, it's like, can you really take their advice, or should I just really kind of blow them off? For me, I've achieved this working at these large corporations and going to school at this #1 school in the world, so it was easier for me to pitch myself as someone who has achieved something in their life, and I was very proud of that. How do you get these 1099 jobs? A lot of agencies, believe it or not, will reach out to you. So look into agencies who are hiring for certain roles. Like if you're a nurse, look into healthcare agencies. If you're a business analyst or business person, look into these agencies, because a lot of companies, they'll have headcount to hire for a contractor or a consultant because they need help with certain projects or programs. They may be temporary or they could be long-term, just depends on what the company is and what their needs are. And if you're able to land these roles, they pay rather well. You can either get paid W-2 or 1099. If you go with the 1099, I do recommend that you set up a sole proprietor or an S corporation as well as a business bank account. So that way you can actually generate income and get money through that business bank account, and it'll be more tax advantageous for you rather than having the money deposited to your certain bank account. Because if you just deposit the money to the bank account, then you more or less are likely you'll be taxed a lot more. Don't make that mistake. Most people, especially when they start working on a certain role, they get into YouTube, they get into consulting, whatever it may be, they'll just connect their personal bank account to the account associated with where they're being paid. And then what this does is that it makes it very hard for you to separate business expenses. That's one big thing I need to give you guys advice on. Always separate business expenses from your normal expenses, right? So if you ever get a job, a new full-time role, separate those business expenses from your job. By doing so, you're able to just show your accountant, okay, this is business expense, let's write this off, right? The way you do this is you just go to the bank, tell them, hey, I want to open a business account, go online, open a sole proprietorship, takes you like 20, 30 minutes to do, and open a business account and you get the bank. You do everything in one whole day, and then make sure you have a business debit or business credit card, so that way all the expenses associated with the business will be on that account, and then you won't have to worry about mixing or merging accounts, because that is probably one of the bigger things that gets you in trouble during tax season, and it just makes your accounting so much harder. So always start a sole proprietorship LLC whenever you're going to do this 1099 income. So for those of you who are watching my channel right now, my channel is heavily focused on business, finance, investing. So I want you guys to make sure that you separate your accounts if you do choose to go the entrepreneurship route and you choose to like kind of create and build finances and business for yourself. That is one of the bigger things to do. Keep that in mind whenever you're trying to invest, whenever you're trying to start 1099 income. I want to go over again on how to get these 1099 jobs. These 1099 jobs are consulting jobs, consulting roles. There's 3 main websites really where you can find them. It's just, one is Indeed.com. You have a lot of like agencies post certain roles on Indeed.com, and Indeed.com, my advice is just type in whatever role you're trying to apply for. So like if you're a program manager, say in the San Francisco Bay Area, type in program manager and then location to San Francisco, and you'll just see a whole bunch of roles that will either be W-2 roles, which are like full-time jobs, or 1099 roles. Usually if you look up the company and it's an agency, that is most likely a consulting gig or consulting role where they're trying to hire someone. And if you look up the company and it's like, say it says Stripe, says Google, stuff like that, that's most likely W-2 role. That's a full-time job. And then these companies will pay you like W-2 income, full-time job. The difference between 1099 and W-2 is that 1099 roles are like contracting roles. W-2 roles, they include full benefits. So like most likely you'll get health insurance, retirement, investing, like equity if your company is big, bonuses, things of that nature, as well as you'll be able to just really kind of get the whole slew of benefits like healthcare, dental, whatever it may be, insurance too. So that way you can go to these certain jobs or roles and you get basically a lot of benefits associated with it. 1099 contracting roles, they will pay you a little bit more because you won't have benefits, right? And it's basically straight cash deposits to your account. And essentially it's like you won't get healthcare, you won't get dental insurance, you won't get retirement as a 1099 contractor. But if you become a W-2 contractor through that agency, you will get all these benefits. However, you will be paid less because you're not on that 1099 income, and you can't use that 1099 income for your business. You can use W-2 income for your sole proprietorship or LLC. So just look into that, whatever you're kind of into your life, right? The cool thing is that if you have a W-2 income for your full-time job, you'll get that benefits like retirement, healthcare, all that good stuff. And especially if you have a family, it's probably really important for you to have this right now, just in general. But you get your W-2 income, have all your benefits from there, you're investing, all that, everything you need. And then if you want more income, you get a 1099 income on top of your W-2 income. So you're basically, all that money from that 1099 income will go towards your business. It'll go towards investing. It'll go towards just whatever your business needs to grow and thrive, or your sole proprietorship or LLC. And that's how you kind of generate more income for both. I've had friends, right? They would do a W-2 job, and then they also had 2 1099 incomes from just consulting different companies. Also, I've had friends who have a W-2 income job, and then they also had a YouTube channel where they're able to generate ad revenue as well as revenue from the businesses or the products that they're selling on their YouTube channel. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? They're trying to make more money, create and build a business, create an empire, whatever they're trying to do. So take a look into that, right? 1099 income, W-2 income. Two of the best ways to really generate money, to really kind of allocate more capital and resource, right? It's how I was able to get into the top 1% of earners these past few years, because my role at Google paid well, equity appreciated, consulting for different companies on 1099 status, 1099 basis, where we're able to just basically get that money and just try and generate more revenue because of the skills I had brought to the table. Jello family, I appreciate you guys so much. Please like, comment, and subscribe. We're growing so quick. I have a podcast called Angelo Cross Podcast, where a lot of my friends come on, talk about their journey, their experiences. Also, I have a lot of videos on business, personal finance down below. Check that out. The affiliate links I have down below as well, for those of you who are very interested in investing, whatever it may be. Take a look at my Instagram. Please follow me there, as well as take a look at Angelo Cross, which is my channel, mainly focused on Tesla tech, and that's like my fun channel too. So that's growing pretty quickly as well. Jello family, have an amazing day. Catch you later. Please like, comment, subscribe. Peace.